Hello, everyone. Joey Mandera here for 89.5 WSOU, and today I'm here with News. How are you all today?
Good.
Good. Very good.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's great to hear. So let's just jump right into it. When you were first starting, and this was, of course, a while ago, what difficulties did you face trying to find whatever musical style you think would fit you best?
I think for us when we were starting out, it was just natural to fall into the thrash genre because we were such huge fans of Metallica, Megadeth, Testament, Nuclear Assault. We were listening to those types of bands at the time of our formation, and it was just, a natural transition for us.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, you always have all those influences end up, whether on purpose or not, influencing whatever you make. Yeah. Um, So when you go into writing a new song, what does the process look like? What do you generally like to start with?
The riff. Yeah, well, yeah, the guys will throw some riffs, whether it's Eric, Mike, or Mike. Um, I'm the drummer, so I'll take what they put and put down and try to form something that everyone likes, really. And then when we achieve that, then Mike or myself, mostly Mike will write some lyrics to the song.
Yeah, so we get in a room. Usually, Joey, it's when we're tuning up, right? So we just get the band practice. We're tuning up, and somebody just throws out a riff, whether it's Eric, the other Mike, or myself. We have two mics here, and then Bob will just take a beat and start experimenting with that. Ultimately, what we do collectively, I think I could speak for most of us, is we envision the crowd, the audience, and the pit, right? What would move the crowd? What does the crowd want to hear? What emotions, what can we get out of the crowd via our music? How do we turn these inanimate objects into something that moves people? So that's really the process.
A lot of times it could just be on accident. You're sitting there, like Mike says, you're tuning up and you're just playing around and you go, that sounded really good. And just go over, grab the phone, put it down, hit the record button on that, save it for later. And just, as you're skimming through it, down the line, you're like, oh, that sounded good. What else can we put to that?
Yeah, we're music fans as well. So we place ourselves in front of the stage and what we would like to hear that moves us. And because we're such fans, it sort of correlates to the people who are now listening to us because we're on the same wavelength. So if it moves us, it'll probably move the crowd too.
Yeah, and that's always a great position to be in, to be able to appreciate your music as from the perspective of a listener as well. That's great. You don't hear that too often. That's really great that you guys have that. So to this new EP that you released, when you were making it, what were you listening to at the time, and what do you think? Do you think it influenced the end product, or did you have like a strong vision from the beginning of what you wanted it to be?
Yeah, go ahead, Bob.
I was just going to say real quick. I mean, we're kind of original. I mean, we do have, like Mike said, we're old school, right? So we do listen to some. We're fans of like Trivium and some of the newer bands out there. But even their style is reference to the 80s metal. So it's just really we sort of know what we want to write and just experiment. There's so many cool riffs you can write. So if we can gather some, we're excited about it. But it's the same references that, like Mike said, Testament and Metallica, those bands still excite us and we aspire to be half as good. So
it's a great question, first and foremost, Joey. So at the time that we were writing this, and to Bob's point, we have our style ingrained in us, but we had just gotten Mike Wilday into the band. We were historically, as you know, a three-piece for many years, and Mike came to a few sessions just to hang out and jam, and we instantly clicked. So Mike immediately brought a whole other influence and style and another layer to the music, which is why this EP is a lot different than our previous EPs. Mike brings a tremendous new dimension, and Mike has, you know, a little bit more of a different style. You know, Mike, you want to speak to your style, but I know like your roots are in Iron Maiden, and then, you know, you build up from there. So why don't you tell us a little bit more about, you know, what you bring to the table?
Yeah, like Mike says, I'm a big Iron Maiden fan and stuff like that. But I'm a big 80, like Bob said before too, I'm a big 80s metal fan, you know, to boot. And I'm a harmony guy. I love harmonies. I can't get enough of it. And I didn't necessarily want to, you know, come into this band because they already had a solid format that they were doing that's great, and I didn't want to take away from that. I just wanted to be like how would you say, like the icing on the cake. If you have a really good cake that tastes good and you throw some extra really good icing on it, it's going to be even better. So I don't want to saturate it with harmonies. I just want to put them where it is and throw people off. I want people to look at us and not know what's coming next. Because I think that the more anticipation, you know, for the music, you know, the better. Because it's going to draw people to us more because they don't know what they're going to hear next.
I just also want to add that, you know, for Mike, Bob, and myself, you know, we've been together for a long time, but we also knew Mike for 30 years, and his bands were playing with our band, so we got along so very well. And then we had the opportunity to add him to our band, and it was just a blessing. It true was, and just you can tell on this EP that his influence on it just makes us a better band, and I'm just very thankful for that.
Yeah, and after having listened to some of your newer and some of your older stuff, I could say that icing on the cake is pretty much exactly how I would describe. You had a very good, solid style, and Mike just came in and just added that icing on the cake.
Yeah, they had a few songs written already that I just added some small key elements to that actually changed it. You know, I'm not going to say, you know, for the better. It's just, you know, it was already good to begin with. It just, you know, gave it a little bit more, you know, texture to it, and, you know, like I said, you know, threw people off a little bit more.
It's for the better, Mike.
I appreciate that.
So in that same vein, how do you think adding Mike after being a power trio for so long, how do you think that's changed the way you look at making new music?
It's changed the landscape completely because now it's wide open. I don't have to think about, well, how I could always I have a studio right here. I'm in it. I could always layer 100 guitar tracks if I wanted to, but how are we going to perform this live? You know, that was always the gap, the stop, the block in my mind when writing. Like, I want to be able to perform these songs live. So I couldn't put 100 guitars doing 100 different things. But now with Mike in the band, it takes a lot of pressure off me. I could focus on singing. I could focus on the rhythm most of the times. And then when it's my turn to solo, I solo. But, you know, Mike has creative freedom over the entire song. So that brings that whole new dimension when it comes to writing moving forward.
It makes it more fun as well because we can do so many more things that we could do as a three-piece. So it's more exciting now. That Mike's experience, his talent to our skills, and it just widens everything. It's beautiful.
Yeah. Okay. So sort of elephant in the room. The new EP is referred to as Volume 1. Assuming there will be a second volume, what made you decide to use this kind of format as opposed to what you were doing before?
We were so excited to get what we had onto tape that we're like, we're going to do 2 EPs. We're putting this out now. Let's get going. We're pumped up. We're incredibly psyched. And so that's why we did it.
Yeah, and plus we were also, we just made a couple of music videos, which also took some of the time away from writing new music. So like Mike said, we wanted to get out this new music, put out the video. So we're trying to do as much as we can, you know, where a lot of bands may have been complacent or just not doing anything. We try to take the time that we had because we can't play as many shows as we'd like to because of the whole COVID thing. So we focused on music and the music videos as another avenue for our music to get out there.
Yeah, we've been very busy during this whole situation during the pandemic, and that was, letting our creative flow just go, and it's been pretty amazing. And just in a short period of time since adding Mike, it's been awesome.
Yeah, and obviously there were a lot of difficulties sort of facing this new EP with what like the pandemic hitting right as you were in the process of making it. Plus, you were shifting sort of your style with adding a new band member. How do you think these affected the final product, or do you think you would have made the same thing had there not been a pandemic or so many limiting factors?
That's another great question, Joey. I think it probably would have been different just because we would have been playing more shows. So we would have spent more, which we love doing. We love recording, we love creating, but ultimately it's about the fans and getting in front of them and playing live. And that's what it's always been about for us. So I think it would have been a little bit different. But I mean, to your point, talking about the pandemic, we're still looking to do a local record release for this, and it's been, venues are so few and far to come by. I mean, we have been doing shows, but they're all up in the New York area or North Jersey or South Jersey, Philadelphia markets, but locally here in Central Jersey where we reside, to put together that record release party for our hometown fans, it's been challenging.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and hopefully you can get that together. I really do hope you can manage to get that record release party, and get those more shows, because as you know, we're opening up more. That's becoming more of a possibility.
I think for us, it's a little bit more easier to get things going too, because like Mike described before, he's got a studio in his home, and I have a studio in my home, and we have a bigger advantage on other bands that probably don't have a studio in their home, and they have to wait for time, for studio time. And like you said, during the COVID thing, it's really hard to get studio time. And even that said, even afterwards, people are trying to get in. So we have the ability to do all this stuff ourselves, and it just makes things a lot easier. And it also gives us a little bit more breathing time to really come out with some good stuff instead of trying to rush it and get into a studio just to get it done.
Yeah, and I think that quality definitely shows off in what you're able to release during a time with, again, how you said, like nobody could find studio time. And so back to that release, if there is again going to be a second volume, what could we expect from it? What would be would it be more of what we have on volume 1, or is there anything different you're going to try, I think?
We've already recorded. So I have about 384 messages on voice memos on my phone. So we have several riffs. We're already halfway through a couple songs. It's going to be a steady progress. You're going to hear some of the elements that you heard on volume 1, but we're going to continue to trend into the direction where we're experimenting more with different tunings, experimenting more with different transitions. So it's going to be some of the stuff on volume 1, but hopefully we keep progressing and keep getting better.
I hope we're going to try to get some acoustic type stuff in there too. Let's see how that works out.
Yeah, I always love to hear that when bands are not afraid to try new things, like new modern tools and things like that, to supplement the already great music they've been making without it. So I hope you guys are able to make some good stuff with that. I'm sure you will be. So sort of backtracking a little bit back to the EP proper, what do you think is your favorite song off of the new release, and why would you say so?
That's hard, because I enjoy them all. They're just they're different own monster or whatever, but I say, I mean, it's hard to say, but for the first video we did called Swept Away, it just has a lot of meaning to us, and the message it's pretty heavy, it's pretty deep, and Mike the monster can go into more in that if you like, Mike, if that's what you're feeling.
Yeah, so just to answer the question, first, it's kind of like asking me, I can't speak for the other guys. It's like asking me to pick my favorite child. You know, I can't really do that. I have some children that are good in one situation and some that are better in another situation. So it all depends on the day. But Swept Away, yeah, I mean, a deep message. It's about having a terminal illness and dealing with the issues, you know, where you're trying to be strong in front of your family, and you have this thing looming over you. You're trying to be positive, but you know, ultimately you're struggling with, you have a lot of turmoil, you're struggling with morality and things of that nature. Also with the video, it speaks to suicide prevention because there's a fleeting desire for, death by people who are diagnosed within the first 12 months of their diagnosis. And it's a real thing. And people reached out to us about it. And we did the video, and it has a very positive PSA message at the end. And yeah, so that's the message behind Swept Away.
Great reviews on it as well, and won actually an award for it, for an International Shorts Film Award for Best Music Video and Editing. So just that was a complete honor for that.
Yeah, I love all the songs. But yeah, Swept Away is a song I think probably we're all most proud of, because it's a song that that's probably the most of a change from our previous work. You know, when Mike Wilday came, he brought that song in and we took it. And when people hear it, they're like, wow, that doesn't even sound like you guys, which is, I guess, a compliment in a way. But for me, like a music fan, a metal fan, I think it has every element in it for anyone who may be on the fence about metal or is a metal fan, because there's some cool changes at the end. But it's just, all in all, it's almost like just a great heavy metal song. So I think Swept Away, for me personally, just every time I hear it, and the more I hear it, I get excited about what we've accomplished with the video, with the song. Like Eric said, we won an award from an international film festival, the Short Awards out of Los Angeles. So not only did we write a pretty good song, but the message we put out is touching people in a positive way.
Yeah, and that's amazing. That's amazing that you guys can do that, that you can be comfortable, with doing something that's vaguely outside of your style. And like you said, that people wouldn't even at first recognize as you if they didn't know that it was. And to make a message so powerful, that's something, that's just the mark of good artists, to be able to be comfortable doing that. And that's really great on you guys.
They already had, I mean, I know it's it's a little outside of what they were doing, recently, but I mean, if you really dive into a lot of their older stuff before I was in there, they have quite a few things that are a little out of character for them, which is good because it makes people see that you're more than just a thrash band, okay? And I think that's a recipe for success, because you're not pigeonholing yourself in one area. You can step out of the box and really, as I said before, throw people off. And there's quite a few things that they did before that are even more out of character for them than Swept Away is. But like they said too, it's a great song. The whole CD is great. The next one's equally going to be great or better. We're hoping. And like Mike says, we're really going to try to step out a little bit more and get a little bit crazier to see where it goes. I think if you don't try to like challenge yourself each time you do something, you're really not, doing anything.
Yeah, I can't wait for that release. I can't wait to see what you guys come up with for that. Honestly, I'm really excited with what you've been saying, what you've been able to come up with in this recent release. And yeah, I really look forward to what you guys are able to come up with. I hope you can make even more incredibly powerful and out of character, because that's always great to hear, out of character music.
Yeah. Like Mike said, we in our past music, if we were influenced by like bands like Sublime or Nirvana, you'll hear it in our music. So like any musician, whether it's Billy Joel or Paul McCartney, they hear, these are references, but they hear something and then they'll try to write a similar song because they like the style. And that's what all musicians do. They hear something they like and say, "Oh, let me try something like that." But you use your own little ingredients that you're familiar with and that's ingrained in you, and you sort of have your style mixed with, a band that you appreciate. So, and that's we try not to be, just play the same thing over and over again. We do like to mix it up. So, like when Mike brought that song and that was the song, it was like, all right, cool. This is something that's different, and let's work with this. It's not going to be the same, and that's what gets us excited about keep on writing songs. That's probably, playing live is amazing, and writing songs for me and the band, I think, is just as exciting. It's like it's like an artwork, and when someone appreciates what you've done, there isn't a better feeling.
Yeah, that's amazing. And like I said, I'm grateful you guys are able to make that kind of music and to make, especially people like me, definitely appreciate that is going around.
Awesome.
Yeah. And a question for the trio, so to speak, of you. You guys have been making music together for, if I'm right, around about 30 years. So what do you think has changed in the way you view making music, in the way you view what your music is and does since you started?
So technology plays into it a lot, right? So now I could record a riff, I could send it over to Mike. Bob could come over, we could do his drum tracks, send it over to Mike and collectively work on things. So our approach first and foremost is different. But 30 years ago, you're just like, how fast can I play? And and how crazy can I be? But now I think we're becoming better musicians 30 years later. Finally.
Yeah, I mean, we've been playing together a long time. We're, the bass player is my twin brother. Mike, we've been friends since we were 11 or even younger.
9.
9. Yeah. So there's a foundation. When you have a band is like a marriage in a way. And when you have a foundation of friendship and love, and that allows you to, create music. We had the same style. We just clicked, and we're always, over 30 years, like Mike said, we're trying to write better and better songs. So that's what we've done. We have a similar style. When we first started out, thrash was the scene. Megadeth, Metallica, Anthrax, these bands, they were the kings of music, and it was an exciting time. But throughout those 30 years, the styles of music has changed. When Nirvana came in, it almost stopped thrash for a while until Pantera came back in and took it back up a notch. But either you pack up and go home, or you keep on trucking. And that's what we did. We kept on. We didn't change our style drastically to accommodate the times. We did what made us happy and got us excited, and everything is rehashed and comes back into play. And heavy metal never really goes away. And it's nice that here it is 30 years later, and people are appreciating what we've done even more, because we never gave up. And you can tell that in the music that these guys wholeheartedly believe in what they're doing and what they're playing, because we do. It's part of our DNA, really. At this point, it's part of our makeup. So the three of us have that foundation. When you see us live, people are blown away. They're looking for the other 5 musicians that aren't in the room. So that's the compliment that kept us going. And then now adding Mike, it's just, if you get to see us live, you're going to see something special, and that's an absolute truth.
Yeah, that's an ability that a lot of bands tend to suffer from not having, to be able to evolve and to integrate new technology and integrate new ideas, and focus on improving yourself. That's something that you have that I think really brings a lot to the table for you guys, and something I'm glad that you guys are able to do. And I think it makes your music it shows a lot in your music, especially as I said, I really enjoyed this new release, and I think does act as like a culmination of all the improving you've been able to do.
Yeah, thanks.
Joe.
Appreciate
Thanks.
Thank
Of
you.
course. And as one final question, anyone listening, if they wanted to find your music and to support you, where would be the best place for them to go?
Spotify, Apple Music, go to the band's website, Nuseband, NUSEBAND.com, newseband.com, Newseband on Facebook, Newseband on Instagram.
Pandora.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also our YouTube station, YouTube channel, obviously, Newseband again. So some videos there. We're working on another video, a video for Scoundrel. It's incredible. We're using the same exact company that we did for the last video that was award winning, and just a free plug for them, because any bands out there who are listening, 624 Productions, check them out. At least have a conversation with them, because they are fantastic. They are incredibly professional, and they're so very creative when it comes to putting these videos together.
They're a great collaboration. So yeah, great guys. And the new video is going to be, I think, even better than Swept Away. I'm going with that. I'm excited about it.
All right, yeah, I can't wait. Are there any other events or releases aside from the video and the second EP that people can look forward to?
Well, those are our main focuses, right? This next video, focusing on part 2. And again, we're trying to put together something locally in Central Jersey for a record release party. We'll probably join in our fellow friends, Pierced, another very, very strong band over here in the New Jersey scene. We'll probably do a co-record release party with them. And then we'll just look to add shows. Keep checking with the website, newseband.com. Keep checking on Facebook. And yeah, we'll keep posting our events.
Yeah, and on our website too, we have some cool merch. We just got some new T-shirts. We got, coffee mugs. So if you want to drink some coffee and listen to that, feel free.
All right. Well, yeah. Thank you so much. You all guys heard what they've said. Make sure to go support them. Listen to their music. Thank you so much for joining me. This is Joey with 89.5 WSOU. Thank you for listening.